In the past I filmed a video called How to Do a Scottish Accent, and if that's why you're here then I would advise you go and watch that video first. I'll link it up here and I'll put it in the description. I specified in that video that the accent's natural for me, so it is difficult to explain how to do it when I've never really had to learn it with a different accent. I didn't know the exact steps in learning it, but I did try. But there are things that I didn't realise about my accent that people wrote in the comments of that video, and I'm going to go through some of those comments and talk through some of the things that people said that I do in that video that I didn't realise I did. So in my first How to Do a Scottish Accent video, I covered things such as tapping the R's, dropping the G's, the T's, learning the lingo, and watching YouTube videos and Scottish accents, watching films, listening to Scottish radio stations. All these little things can help you learn how to do a Scottish accent, so I covered those in that video. And as I said in that video, there are so many different types of Scottish accents all around the country. It varies from place to place. So I guess that this video and the last video is kind of how to do my accent, I suppose, because it does vary drastically in different places. So the main comments that I got in that video, and so many people commented this, it was about how I said the word tips. When I said the sentence, here are some tips on how to do a Scottish accent, people had a lot to say about that. So I'm going to read out some of the comments. Tips. Taps. I'm going to give you some tips. I will give you a few tips. That's a tip right there. You pronounced all of your short I's with E's, but you didn't use that as a tip. Lol. I wondered if you noticed. I'm completely American and I can't even replicate your accent, but you did leave out one thing that I noticed. You left out the E sound when speaking words with an I in them, such as tip. You very strongly say tep. Other examples would be kid, video, lingo, pic, Twitter, etc. Just replace all those E's with I's. It's quite entertaining to listen to you do that. Kid, video, lingo, pic, Twitter. I becomes E, roll the credits. So as you can see, there are quite a lot of comments that comment on the fact that I say E instead of I, which is something that I've never noticed, and even still, I still can't notice it when I'm reading out these comments because it just sounds totally different to me. Like when I say tip compared to tep, those vowels are really different to me, but apparently I do say tep instead of tip. And I bet you there's so many comments that are like, it sounds exactly the same. Like, I'm not even going to go into it, right? Well, I am, because I'm bringing it up. But one of the comments that drives me absolutely crazy is when people say that I say sex for six. And I know that to a lot of yous, everyone's going to be like, oh my god, it sounds the same. It doesn't, right? It doesn't sound the same. It's totally different. So that is a tip in itself. Replace the I with an E sound. I still don't get it, but there you go. That's what a lot of comments said, so I've got to go with it. Some more comments that I got in that video were, thanks for this video, Erin. There's also the pronunciation of words like night, fight, light, which is interesting, and the thr pronunciation as well, three, through. I think the thr pronunciation as well is another example of tapping your R. Like instead of rolling your R, like three. Wow, I didn't do a very good job there. Three. We don't pronounce that like that, we just tap our R, so three. You're not like rolling it. Night, fight, light. Never even thought of those words, to be honest, so. I got a big long comment here which was, as an East Coast American speaker, I've noticed a few differences besides the glottal stop for final or medial T. A glottal stop is what I just did there, like not pronouncing your T's. Shifting short I to short E, rid, sounds like red to me, and I suppose US red would be longer, like raid. Final D I hear is unvoiced, like T as bead, sounds like beat, bead. I don't get it. Also in my dialect, the words worth and earth rhyme, but I think Scots English preserves the original difference between these vowels followed by R. I say worth and earth, but I think in Scots it would be more like worth and earth. That's right, never thought of that. Is the vowel in firth different from both of these, or does it rhyme with one? Right, this is really confusing. Worth and earth, yeah, we do see those really differently. Worth, even though it's an O, it's pronounced with a U, and earth is pronounced with an E, like a strong E. Firth, like Firth of Clyde, is pronounced with an I, but I guess it does have more of a U sound. I've never thought of this before. One of the hardest things for me is getting that dark L sound, which seems to be pronounced farther back in the mouth than mine. I say that RL in girl is one sound, with the sides of the tongue touching my upper molars and the tip of my tongue turned up toward, but not touching the roof of my mouth. I think in Scots, as Erin says, the R and the L are two separate sounds making two syllables. The R tapped against the alveolar ridge, and the L made by lowering the back of the tongue, not touching the upper teeth, and the tip touching the roof of the mouth. I'm just guessing from the sound and trying to reproduce it, so I'd welcome an authentic description. Okay, I mentioned in the last video that when we say girl and world, it's almost like two syllables because we're not saying girl all in the one-y, we're saying girl, girl. I guess it can also sound kind of like an American D sometimes, like girl, giddle almost. It's so hard to explain. But this person's sort of going into more detail in what you do with your tongue to reproduce this RL sound, which is difficult. I've read a few Irvine Welsh novels and watched Trainspotting many times. The books gave me an idea on how Scottish sounds. That's a really good tip right there. I've been reading Irvine Welsh's books as well. I just read T2 Trainspotting and I've just ordered Skag Boys. And quite a lot of his books are written in Scots or slang, so you're actually reading it how it would be pronounced. And if you're not used to it, it is quite difficult. Even for me, like, and I know exactly what it's saying and what I can read it quite fast, but it did take me a wee while at first to get used to it. I'd like to say though, bear in mind that Trainspotting and quite a lot of Irvine Welsh's books aren't for the faint-hearted. They're graphic, they're sexual, they're offensive. Just bear that in mind if you go to read one of Irvine Welsh's books. Like, they're minging, but they're great. One thing I learned: height, hate, light, late. So I take it to them, height sounds like I'm saying hate. And I suppose saying the word height for me is also like saying the word hate in a form of an English accent. Like, height. That's me saying hate in an English accent. Height. That sounds like a Scottish height. Well, that's interesting, never realised that. Another thing that a lot of people said on that video was that I talk too fast, and that is just a thing that Scottish people do. Scottish people talk fast, and that's something that people find quite hard to get used to when they come here. Scottish people do talk fast, and I do slow down my words for videos. I would normally talk much faster than I'm talking right now, and this is probably quite fast for a lot of people. A lot of comments were saying you need to put subtitles on your videos, but then the majority of people that watch my videos can understand without subtitles. So I think, I don't want to say listen harder, because that sounds really rude, but listen harder, no. Yeah, it would take a long time for me to sit and type out subtitles for every video, so it's not possible. For some videos I have done that, but it does take quite a long time, and I just don't have time to do that for every video. But this is me slowing my words down for videos. So the vowel thing really interested me, and I was looking into more of the different vowel differences. So some examples were the words fern, fir and fur. So fern obviously is an E sound, fir is an I and fur is a U, but fur and fur sound very, very similar in my accent. Those can be confusing words for a lot of people. And then another example was horse and horse. Again, different pronunciations all over Scotland, but horse, OA, it's more of an O sound, whereas horse is an O sound, as in like, why was oracle the first word that came in my head? I don't know, but we'll go with that. And another thing that I noticed when I was watching that video again, my old video, was how sometimes I say a kind of W sound for an L. Like when I say the word L, I don't say L like I should, I say L. I'm not pronouncing the L properly, like with my tongue between my teeth. I'm saying L as in more like ow, if that makes sense. So another example would be twiddle. I'm saying twiddle, almost, not twiddle. And that's just another thing that I noticed that I do, but not all people with the Scottish accent will do that. So if it's easier for you to pronounce the L like normal, then do that. So these are some extra little tips for how to learn a Scottish accent. I hope this helped a little bit. Maybe it just confused you more, who knows. I tried. It is difficult for me because obviously I didn't have to learn the accent, blah blah. Leave any more tips in the comments down below that you noticed, and people can just discuss, I suppose, in the comments below. So if you enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe. I put out videos twice a week, and if you want notified of when I upload, then click the wee bell as well down below. But that's everything, so thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.